What happened to men being simps? Men just aren't simps anymore, and that's a problem. No wonder we have a male loneliness epidemic.
I just want my friend back. I don't miss the fighting or even the romantic parts of the relationship. I just feel lonely. He was like my best friend.
Frustrated because my whole world got disheveled. And I feel like he has moved on and he is healed and moved on.
Again, I was a selfish bitch. Nothing was ever good enough. I took him for granted. He seriously rolled out the red carpet for me.
Male silence isn't confusion. It's a calculated exit from a conversation that was never going to produce a fair outcome. The emotional reaction it triggers reveals exactly how much of the dynamic depended on men staying engaged and absorbing whatever was directed at them.
I just want my friend back. I don't miss the fighting or even the romantic parts of the relationship. I just feel lonely. He was like my best friend. Other people will be able to make me feel loved, make me feel attractive, make me feel enough. But I hope I can bond with somebody the way I bonded with him. And I know that clearly the time that we were spending together wasn't as important or fun for him. So I shouldn't miss it. But for me, the time we were spending together and the way that we were bonding, even just like texting throughout the day, meant everything to me. And without that, I genuinely feel really lonely. It's really just the small moments, like when I sit down to eat lunch or I'm just like resting between doing things in my day and I just like, my phone's dry. I just don't have anyone to talk to. I want to hear about someone's day. I want to hear about his day. And it's just like hitting me today.
Girls are always told if the guy wanted to, he would. And yet you guys sit and you're like, she's never gonna like me, so I'm never gonna talk to her, and I'm never gonna ask her out, and I'm never gonna get to know her. And then we wonder why we're single. Look, girls are always told if the guy really likes you, he's going to make a move. And then you really like this girl, but you don't make a move. Okay? Yes, there's a potential of it going wrong, but you know what? If we don't try, nothing is ever going to happen, okay? You can't sit and wait for something to happen. You have to go and you have to ask. And so if you're scared, know that, yeah, we're going to be scared, but in life, we're only scared of the things that truly matter to us, okay? So you're only scared because you care. And let's say it doesn't work out. There's going to be more people down the line, and each time you try, you're going to get better and better until you find the one that's right for you, and you'll really appreciate them because they really appreciate you. So if you like a girl, and if you want to, then you should ask her.
Leave us alone. God delivered clearly, and men complied completely. The complaint about men not approaching is the same mouth that issued the original instruction. The selective memory required to hold both positions simultaneously is genuinely impressive.
What happened to men being simps? Men just aren't simps anymore, and that's a problem. No wonder we have a male loneliness epidemic. You're not simps anymore. You all think you're Sigma. Meanwhile, you're not touching a woman. A woman's not even letting you look at her. It's because you're not a simp. Praise, worship, compliments, gifts, yearning. You gotta be obsessed with women. That's how you get them. Like, it's logic. You're listening to a stupid podcast where some guy is trying to sell you protein powder and he's saying, you can't be a simp. Yeah, you do. You can, and you should. We need more simps out here. That's how you get laid. It's not because you're chugging protein powder in your basement. It's because you're being a simp. That's what's gonna do it. You won't be lonely anymore. I guarantee it. Simp it up. It's just that simple. Okay.
Stop staying quiet. Your standards are not negotiable. A woman cannot respect a man who sees a problem and does nothing or says nothing. Being laid back isn't masculine. Being clear, focused, and disciplined is masculine. A relationship doesn't need silence. It needs direction. Let's talk about some real situations then. If your woman is heading out alone in a dress that shows more than you're comfortable with, you are allowed to speak up. That is not insecurity. That is you protecting the dignity of your relationship. If she's getting too friendly with a guy at an event that you both attended, laughing too hard, getting too close, or drinking past her limit, you address it immediately. Not with anger, but with certainty, because protecting the relationship is not optional. If she's getting too close to guys at work, inside jokes, long private conversations, sharing personal details, don't brush it off. You shut that door before it becomes a problem. That is not jealousy. That is your leadership. If she suddenly has work friends she stays out late with, coming home hours after she said she would, acting defensive when you ask her questions, you draw a hard line because you're not controlling. You refuse to be blindsided. It's called boundaries, and it's healthy. A man who ignores these things doesn't look easygoing. He looks unaware, and unaware men lose respect fast. A woman feels safer with a man who enforces boundaries rather than a man who avoids conflict just to keep the peace. Every time you stay silent, you teach her that your standards are negotiable. Every time you avoid speaking up, you show her that you're more afraid of her reaction than you are to the committed relationship that you guys are in. Leadership doesn't mean yelling. It's not control. Leadership is calm, steady direction that this crosses a line for me and I'm not pretending that it doesn't. When you know who you are, you're not scared to speak the truth. Women don't follow men who fold. Women follow men who lead. So lead with clarity, with strength, and with standards that you are not afraid to enforce. You got this.
Every legal framework around domestic situations defaults to the anti-male interpretation. Living within a budget becomes financial abuse. Protecting the relationship becomes control. The system was designed to convert male behavior into evidence of wrongdoing regardless of what that behavior actually is. Boundary crossing isn't accidental either. Mature women know exactly when they've crossed a line. The crossing is often the point.
I'm frustrated because got my whole world got disheveled. And I feel like he has moved on and he is healed and moved on and doesn't care about me, which I don't want him to come back into my life, but it still just sucks, you know?
Women hate silence. Women cannot stand indifference. Okay, they cannot stand it. It is worse than anything. Quiet. No one knocking. That phone not going off. That will destroy her. So she'll take your simp text, but she'll look at the phone. This is when she's doing, and she looks at it. Go ahead. What were you saying? But if she gets a text from that dude, she's like, hang on a minute. Smiling. She'll stop a meeting for that. This is the truth. And you need with actual real game to teach you this. People say they got real game. It only goes so far. This is the truest, the pinnacle of understanding. It is.
Staying silent hands her the narrative by default. A man doesn't need to get emotional to correct the record. He just needs to stay calm, state the facts once, and refuse to participate in the performance. Silence has its place, but so does quiet, unmoved clarity.
I was a selfish bitch in my marriage. I've been divorced now almost 4 years, but I was married to my ex-husband 16 years and with him 18 years. And again, I was a selfish bitch. Nothing was ever good enough. I took him for granted. He seriously rolled out the red carpet for me. He was sweet, kind, generous. He told me how much he loved me 5 times a day. He told me how beautiful I was every day. If he'd wake me up in the morning, because he knows I love massages, wake me up rubbing my shoulders. He'd rub my feet every evening while we were watching TV. If I said, for example, oh, I'm craving a Dr. Pepper, he'd be like, okay, let me go to the corner store and get it. He adored me. He was amazing. Like on paper, it's what every girl wants. Seriously. And I took it for granted. And now I lost that, right? And I carried a lot of guilt because I caused it. That's my biggest regret in life, is not saving, the whole family aspect. The grass is not always greener on the other side, ladies. It's not, I'm good now. I feel great. And he's super happy with his girlfriend. And honestly, I could not be happier for him because he deserved to be loved and cared about and respected as he should have always been. So I'm so happy that he's happy. Anyways, what I'm saying, ladies, the grass is not greener on the other side. If you have a good guy, take care of him. Take care of him. Trust me, there's nothing good out in these streets. He seriously set the bar. He set the bar. And ultimately, what I always wanted, I had all along. So we have good right in front of us and we don't know how to take care of it.
Ladies, listen to me. Everything that men do is 100% intentional. Everything that a man does, he does it with intention. You guys are living in La La Land. You guys have been watching Disney too much. I need you guys to wake up and smell the coffee. Everything that a man does is 100% intentional. Okay, so if he's not replying to you after so many hours, if he's taking hours to reply back to you, he knows what he's doing. If he hasn't spoken to you in weeks, he knows what he's doing. If he's texting you but not planning a date, he knows what he's doing. He has a plan, and that plan just means you're not included in that plan.
The discovery that disengaging from non-essential arguments immediately deflates them is one of the most useful things a man can learn. She wants a reaction, not a resolution. Deny the reaction, and the argument loses its fuel source. Are you done? Delivered calmly is more powerful than any counterargument available.
You haven't heard from him in 3 days, and now your brain is creating an entire documentary. He lost interest. I knew it. Something's wrong. He's talking to someone else. Pause and sit down. Do you see how none of those things came from him? They came from you. A man doesn't text you for 3 days and suddenly you're questioning your beauty, your worth, your value, your future, your desirability, whether you will be loved or not. Goddess, that is not dating. That is self-abandonment. Because the real question isn't, why hasn't he texted me? The real question is, why does his silence have more authority over your emotional state than your own relationship with yourself? Why does one person that you've barely known for a few weeks have the power to determine whether you feel insecure or secure? Because somewhere along the way, you learn to use other people to measure your worth. So now every delayed text feels like rejection. Every shift in energy feels like abandonment. Every moment of uncertainty feels like danger. And every moment of silence feels like you're being abandoned. And before you know it, you have stopped living your life and you started monitoring it. Monitoring his specifically. Checking, waiting, analyzing, obsessing, trying to find evidence that you are safe. But safety was never supposed to come from him, goddess. And here's a truth that nobody talks about. Healthy relationships require space. Healthy people have lives. Healthy men don't spend every waking second glued to their phone proving that they're interested. Sometimes they're working, sometimes they're with family. Sometimes they're building their future. Sometimes they're simply existing. And the woman who is secure enough to let a connection breathe often experiences a completely different relationship than the woman who's trying to control it. Because love grows in presence, but it also grows in absence. People need space to miss you, goddess. Space to think about you, space to wonder about you, space to choose you. Space to check in to see how they're feeling, to see if they still want to continue to pursue this. Stop trying to force certainty where life is asking you to build your self-trust. And that's exactly what I help you do inside the Feminine Reboot. Not getting him to text you more. It's about becoming a woman whose sense of self-worth doesn't rise or fall depending on a text. Because the moment someone's inconsistency can make you abandon yourself, that is the real problem. Not him, not the text, not the dating app. Relationship that you have built with yourself. Because a woman who knows how to stay connected to herself doesn't spend 3 days losing her mind because someone else disconnects. She spends 3 days living her life. And this is something that is chronically programmed into you, and this is your nervous system. This is your nervous system. This is why you know better and you don't do better. This is why you know the information but you still panic. This is why you have anxiety attack. This is why you have all these negative things, because it must be deconditioned out of you. You have to reteach your body how to feel safe. And that's exactly what I teach you how to do inside the Feminine Reboot. And I cannot wait to see you there. I hope this video helped. I hope it gave you clarity. And remember, you're a goddess. Act like it. I love you. Mwah. Bye.
The hatred of being ghosted has almost nothing to do with grief over the lost connection. It's the loss of the final scene, the chance to provoke, escalate, play victim, and control the ending. Stoic exit removes all of that. No drama to perform, no reaction to weaponize, no audience for the finale. That's why it works and why it's so despised.
Ladies, this one's gonna sting, but most of the time it is not men ruining relationships. It is women sabotaging themselves. But first, let me explain. First is the victim mindset. If every argument turns into poor me, look what you did to me, you're not resolving the conflict. You're dodging accountability. Second, attention addiction. If you need outside validation, likes, stares, DMs to feel secure, you'll never be happy with the man that you're with. Third, lack of self-worth. If you drag your unhealed trauma into a relationship but refuse to face it and deal with it, you're making your partner pay for damage that they did not cause. These aren't just little habits. They are relationship killers. They destroy trust, create resentment, and eventually push away the man or woman you claim to love. And the hard truth, a lot of women would rather blame men than admit that they're guilty of these patterns. So before you say men are the problem, ask yourself, am I sabotaging my own relationship? Try to ask yourself that. If you're brave enough to admit that, you will change everything. If not, you're going to repeat the same cycle. Drop your take in the comments. I know this one is going to get a little heated.
Block, delete, disappear completely. The first impulse to respond is just habit. Break it once and it weakens permanently. The goal is to remove all information about their attempts to reestablish contact. What you don't know can't manipulate you back into a situation you already correctly exited.
The biggest thing I've learned about men in all my years on this earth so far is to leave them alone. The only way he will learn and the only way to get through to him is to say nothing and to leave him alone. The more time you spend writing paragraphs, pleading with him, begging, crying, explaining your pain, trying to show him how he's hurt you and how he should treat you better, all of that time spent is wasted. It's a waste of your time and it's a waste of your energy because he does not hear any of that. All he hears and sees when you do that is, wow, she's not going anywhere and she really cares about me and she loves me. That's the only thing he sees and hears. So please do yourself a really, really big favor and stop siphoning your energy into trying to show that person how they've hurt you and what they've done wrong and how they should treat you better. Because if they were going to treat you better, then they would have. He will realize in his own time his wrongs, his wrongdoings, blah, blah, blah. Hopefully by then you've moved on with your life, you're pouring love into yourself, and you've maybe even found a king. But regardless, just leave men alone, all right? Just leave them alone. And love yourself.
A fair point delivered honestly. Men who listen and don't manufacture emotional instability do exist, even if finding one requires patience. The advice to leave men who make you feel consistently unstable is sound. It applies equally in both directions, which is probably why it doesn't get stated that way. The silence men deploy isn't cruelty. It's the only exit that doesn't get converted into ammunition. The women who hate it most aren't grieving the relationship. They're furious about losing control of the narrative. Male silence removes the drama, the escalation, the victim positioning, and the social media story. It hands nothing over and takes everything back. The question the conclusion raises answers itself. It was never about wanting the relationship back. It was always about controlling how it ended. Thanks for watching MGTOW Voice. Show us your love by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Support us and help spread awareness for men around the world. We welcome a healthy debate and discussion, so feel free to comment and share your thoughts.